Hello, YouTube community. My name is Jacqueline, otherwise known as Exquisite Beauty, and I want to be the first, of course, to welcome you to my inaugural edition of that's my thing. Crime, corruption, cults, conspiracies, craziness, and cosmetics. Yes. Now, you might see my co-host, who's my Siamese cat. Her name is Barbie. If you see her pop up on the screen here, that's just because I can't get her off of my makeup table. So, we're going to be doing a face beat today. Probably nothing major, just a soft glam. And we're going to be talking about a few current crime cases, maybe mentioning a historical fact or two, and just getting to know each other. So while I'm putting on my primer, I'll tell you a little bit about what got me interested in doing this particular thing. First off, I have to say that we have quite a few people here on YouTube who have gotten into this. And actually it started quite a few years back. There was a lady who actually did crime and cosmetics about 4 years ago. Unfortunately, hers didn't take off for some reason. Then it was picked up by Bailey, who many of you know, and hers really took off. And you've had many people do similar formats that didn't include makeup, who tell stories, like Miss Neal, I believe that's her last name. You have people who have started within the past year or so, like Brittany, who are doing very well. You have Mr. Welch, who is doing his ghost stories in makeup. You have so many people who are coming aboard, doing this kind of format. And what I love about it is I feel that it totally matches what I've done in the past. You see, I am a former law enforcement officer. I know, I don't look like one, but believe me, I was. And I'm also a licensed hairstylist, and I just happen to be a makeup artist. So I feel like if you put all those together, it makes me a perfect fit for enjoying this. And as long as crimes keep happening and crazy things keep going on around the country and around the world, there's always going to be room for as many people who want to tell a story as there are cases, which happen every day. So welcome to my channel, and I'm going to start here by just putting on a little bit of primer. This particular one that I'm using is one that I got from Korea. And while I'm doing that, of course, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the different cases that are going on right now. First off, let's go on to Knoxville, which is pretty close to where I am, if you can tell by my accent. We have a man named Michael Guy Jr., 32 years old. Now, Michael happens to have 3 sisters, and he had a mom and dad. Now, his father was named Joel Guy Sr., and he was 61, I believe. And his mother, her name was Tracy, and Tracy was 55. Well, last Thanksgiving, the parents had their kids over for Thanksgiving. And what ended up happening is, I don't know what the family dynamics are, of course, but they decided somehow to have the kids over, and all 3 girls were there, and their son was there, whose name is Michael, as I mentioned. He's 32 years old. Now, sometime during the course of the Thanksgiving weekend, Michael, I guess, got ticked off about something. I don't know if he was ticked off or if it's just something going on with him in his mind. But what happened is he ended up killing the parents, allegedly. And the thing about it is, this happened back in 2016, and he was actually charged. He was picked up probably just a few days after it actually took place. I guess he must have let them know, or perhaps everything just led to him. What he has done now is he asked the judge to exercise his right to not give him a jury trial and to sentence him to death if he sees fit. So, just to give you a little background on what happened in that particular case, which you might want to know, the trial for this case starts on September the 28th. What happened is this man, not only did he kill both of his parents, but he also attempted to get rid of their corpse by pouring acid on them. So what he's being charged with is first-degree murder, and I guess you would call it first-degree destruction of a corpse for both his mom and his dad. So what do you guys think of that? Thanksgiving dinner. He's there with his sisters. He's there with his parents. For whatever reasons, he decides Thanksgiving is a good time to go on and get rid of mom and dad and pour acid all over their bodies. I think we'll call this episode The Things We Do for Love. The Things We Do for Love. Because everything that I talk about today is basically involving family and romance. People who we supposedly love, and somehow things are just going wrong. I don't know what exactly is the reason that sometimes people think the only way to deal with your loved ones is to kill them. But this seems to be the theme with the cases that I'm talking about today. We have a Michael guy here who poured acid on his parents. His trial is getting ready to start. And of course, I can't wait for us to be able to keep up with that and find out exactly what goes on and what ends up happening, what the judge ends up doing, since there won't be a jury involved in this one, supposedly. I guess he waived his right for that. But it's interesting that he wants to give the judge the right for, or the option to go for death penalty. It sounds like, for whatever reason, he is all right with the idea of death. Ah, there she is. There goes my kitty. I told you she might pop up. Okay, girl. You're blocking the camera. It's time to get off. Time to move. Kitty! Come on. There she goes. Woo! That's my kitty Barbie. You'll see her every now and then. Anyway, I wanted to go on and talk about some of the other things that are going on this week other than that particular case. And we're going to move, hopefully, a little bit around the country. We're not going to, it's not like people in the South are the only ones who do weird things. We have a whole country full of people who do all kinds of things. Of course, not everyone, but it happens. And I want to make sure that you're aware, because we have people who talk about things that happened way back when, but I just saw a need for talking about things that are going on right now. And of course, somebody might expand on what I'm talking about, or I might give you updates later as I find out. If I hear about what's going on in the trial, of course, I will let you know. Now, also another case, and this one is out of Illinois, Lake County, Illinois, involves a lady named Lori Shaver. Now, The interesting thing about this lady, Lori Shaver, is that she's been apprehended because her husband disappeared about 5 years ago. And basically, what happened is his remains were found. Where would you think his remains would be found? Where would you like to guess before I even say anything? Oh, I'll play the theme music while you're coming up with it. John, 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 John. All right, do you have the answer? Okay, well, I will tell you, and you'll know if you're right. We're going to play games of Psychic Detective and see how good you are at guessing things. We might even do a little profiling to see if you're a good profiler. Anyway, what happened is good old Lori, of course, after the husband disappeared, she quickly got a boyfriend, and now she's remarried. The husband's remains were found under a slab of concrete and a fire pit in her backyard. Yeah. So, gee, I wonder what Lori may have had to do with that. I wonder if her current husband knew about that. Anyway, his remains have been found in her backyard. They were found, and that was 5 years after the last time he was seen alive. Now, interesting thing is, this particular gentleman whose body was found, for a while here, for a good while, his friends and family were worried about him, of course, because they didn't think that he would just disappear. And she kept saying, oh, he just ran away from the family. He just ran away from his responsibilities. He just disappeared. And they were getting text messages saying, don't bother me and leave me alone, which of course was probably unlike him. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep reaching out. And of course, these were people who just cared about him and wanted to know what was going on. But she told them that he just abandoned her, abandoned the family, quit his job, and disappeared. And then she moved her boyfriend in. Now, again, I guess you would call it the things that we do for love. The things we do for love. And she now, of course, is awaiting trial. And we're going to have to keep up with that story and see how that goes. Interesting that she got remarried and so quickly. And also interesting that she poured the concrete slab. Now, I hear a lot about that. It seems to be a popular thing among some spouse murderers is to bury the spouse in the yard. I guess it's a way of keeping them there. And that kind of goes along with something I'll talk to you about in a little while. But they bury their ex in the yard. And I guess that's a way to keep them close and keep them in kind of on the mind. But I just wonder why that seems to be so common, this burying them under concrete. Now, I know that it would probably not be a problem with, the smell of the body like in some cases, but still, I don't understand why they would want to bury them on the property unless they feel like it's a way for them to keep tabs on who knows what, when, where, etc. But doesn't it make you kind of afraid to go and buy a house sometimes because you don't know the history? Especially if they have a patio or some pool or any kind of concrete slab or even a big yard with a lot of property. And I know I probably shouldn't feel that way. Heck, it's no telling what's going on with this little house that I have. And, I don't know what all is buried in the backyard because I'm not the first person to live here. I just know I haven't buried anything there, thank goodness. And I'm hoping that nothing is back there. But, anyway, this lady is 37 years old, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with her trial. And, the fact that the man was away for so long, and she kept that going. It just reminds me so much of different stories that I've heard on, our favorite networks that do true crime. You know about the kind that I'm talking about. We all know about those stories, and we've all probably heard stories of somebody trying to destroy the evidence of their crime by all sorts of measures. But there seems to be a real commonality with some criminals for doing that old concrete slab trick. And funny, my dad used to be an owner of a concrete company, and it makes me wonder what kind of things he may have inadvertently been a part of. But anyway, it's not his fault, and he certainly didn't know. So let's keep up with that story and see what's going on. Now, the next story that we're going to talk about, as I put on a concealer here, is about a man named Melvin Martin Jr. Melvin Martin Jr. Now, he's accused of killing his girlfriend. And the thing about it, the things we do for love, is they're not going to name her. So this girlfriend is yet unnamed. I'm not sure why. Maybe they're looking for a positive ID. Maybe they're trying to locate friends and family. I'm not sure exactly why she's unnamed. But what this guy did is really bizarre. But you know what? The world's full of craziness. What he did was, not only did he allegedly kill the lady, but then he dismembered her body in Kentucky. He lives in Kentucky. And he went to see his mother. Now, his mother lives in a place called Markham, Illinois. Now, this man, Melvin, actually dismembered the lady's body and then took part of her body with him on his trip to visit his mother. Yes, he took part of the body. Now, he's been talked to by some of the people who are prosecuting, some of the people who are defending, etc. And his lawyer says that his rationale is, I loved her and I just wanted to keep a part of her with me, even though he killed her. And what he did was packed her in his luggage and decided to go pay mom a visit, getting mom involved. Guess that's one way of introducing your love to your mom, but I think it's better when they're alive. Anyway, whew. What happened in this particular case is Mommy dear noticed that son came by bus, Greyhound bus. Yes, this body was transported by Greyhound bus, folks, across state lines, packed away in his 2 pieces of luggage. He shows up at Mommy's doorstep with the luggage, and for whatever reason, he brings the luggage in the house with him, but he fails to open the luggage. And his family members notice this stench coming from the luggage, and they're like, what the hell is that? The luggage had a stench. And for whatever reason, which we know the reason, Michael did not want to open the luggage. And he kept asking friends and family for clothes to wear. And of course they thought that was peculiar. They're like, wait a minute, you bought 2 pieces of luggage with you. Don't people normally bring their clothes, toothbrushes, mouthwash, maybe soap, etc.? Not necessarily, but, everyone brings something different, but usually what they bring includes the clothing that they're going to wear on their trip. But for whatever reason, which we know the reason, he didn't want to bring anyone's attention to the luggage. She just had it there. And of course, like I said, it was stenchy luggage. So what happened is Mommy sent him to the library. I guess maybe, oh, let's hope that he wasn't into online dating. I hope he wasn't into online dating. I hope that's not how he met the lady, but we'll find out soon enough. Well, Mommy sent him to the library so that he could do whatever he needed to do, maybe check his messages, what have you. And his mom was curious, and she said, I'm going to find out what's in that darn luggage. I'm going to open it up while he's gone. Well, that's exactly what Mommy did. She opened up the luggage while he was gone to the library. And lo and behold, there was a body in that luggage. Now she knows what the stink was. It was the body. Anyway, whoa, I dropped something there. What she did was she immediately called 911, of course, because, this isn't his family's fault. This is his depravity. And the police did arrest him. And that's when he admitted that he did kill her, and that the reason that he wanted to bring part of the body with him is because of, as we mentioned, he wanted to keep part of her with him because he claims he loved her. Now, you might ask, what happened with the other parts? Well, because obviously he didn't get all of them in the 2 pieces of luggage, although, of course, there are some people who are small enough where they could probably fit in luggage. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it was a thick girl. Maybe she was thick. I don't know. And maybe it wasn't possible to get her whole body in the luggage, or maybe he just didn't think it was expedient to put her whole body in the luggage. Part of the body was found in a park, in a state park. And, of course, there are parts of the body that are yet unfound. So I can't wait to find out what's going on with that particular case. And as I said, people find ways of disposing of bodies. And in this case, he cut the body up, dismembered her. So, of course, that's abuse of a corpse as well. So that will factor in with his murder or manslaughter, allegedly, or whatever they decide they're going to call this particular crime. Where the last lady buried the man under concrete, this particular person decides the best way to do away with the body is to dismember it. So, our criminals are creative. What can I say? Now, I'm going to take a little bit of an intermission to throw in a little historical fact. Did you realize that this week in history, President James Garfield died in 1881? So that's a little historical fact. That was on September the 18th, 1881. And, of course, that was after the public had been optimistically misled about his health for weeks. Everybody was told that he was doing good and that he was healing and that he was going to get better. But, of course, then he died. And that kind of reminds me of how things are now sometimes with what we get told versus what the truth is. Sometimes we get told the optimistic story, like say about COVID-19, when sometimes the facts were a little bit more dire, but it's just what people like to do. So those are 3 cases that have really freaked me out this week. There, of course, are some other events that have happened this week. Our Supreme Court judge, Ms. Ginsburg, who actually passed. I don't know if you all are aware, but one thing that made her decide to go for being a Supreme Court justice is the fact that she was very concerned, and it was weighed heavily on her heart as a Jewish American, the mistreatment of many people during the Holocaust, particularly so many Polish and Hungarian Jews, especially, who were executed during the Third Reich. So that had a big influence on her becoming a judge. And her mother was a bookkeeper, first generation. And just think, how well that family did in the United States to go from the first generation. Mom did pretty well to be a bookkeeper. Second generation, her daughter is a Supreme Court justice. That's quite the ambitious family, and I'm sure she did her family very proud. So may she rest in peace. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go on and finish my beat here, and I'm dropping everything. Excuse me for one moment. I've got to get this stuff. Ah, everything is falling. Okay, hold on for me. I'll be back shortly.